supposed to rain tonight.
Mary, we talked about this. You can't freak out every time it rains. This place is in the middle of nowhere.
Are you sure you want to work here? I don't really have a choice.
Raindrops, so many raindrops.
Dear Gasper, I think this is Mary.
Do you like watching people die?
I know about you and your boyfriend. I'm sure you're going to be carrying that around with you your whole life.
I'm not crazy, you know.
The file says paranoid and delusional.
My boyfriend was James Lincoln Fields.
Killed like 30 women.
35.
He's still alive, right?
You will watch people die tonight. Then I'll watch you die.
You're not real.
He keeps a gun in his locker.
I told you I was real.
Welcome to Where the Scary Things Are. I'm your host, MonsterMash Ken, and with me is my co-host, the Mistress of Darkness, the Queen of Fright, the Lady of the Night, Muse. How you doing tonight, lady?
I'm great. Glad to be back with you guys.
She's doing so well that she doesn't need to introduce herself because she's on. Yeah.
I'm here.
I was making fun of you because you were on mute.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be one of those shows. Okay. All right. I'm doing good. We're live. You can tell I'm already messing stuff up. I'm excited to be back here with you guys. Super excited for this movie tonight. Chris brought this one to our attention, and I am so geeked for this one.
Yeah, Chris, well done. How are you, my friend? Everything good?
Everything's good. Drove to Huntington, West Virginia, where I am now. Said hi to my friends at Marshall University and at the Sheet Station across the street from Marshall University. And I stopped for gas a couple times today. And both times I had a good experience at the gas station. I just want to throw that in before we begin the show.
Great. That's always good when you have a good experience at the gas station, especially with the movie we are going to be reviewing tonight. HorrO, how are you, my friend? What's going on with you and our friend Dexter over there, the slacker?
The slacker Dexter and I are here experiencing 2021 almost the same way as 2020. So not much has changed. We're still here hiding in fear, and Promote Horror is open 24 hours. So we're here for business. So I'll pass it to you to check out this movie.
Yeah, I really like this movie. I can't wait to hear Chris's review. Chris, I think you just tweeted out your review, so you can go to Chris's website there, Emporium for B Movies, and see what he had to say about this one. But we'll talk to the director of the movie a little bit later on, and I hope I don't mispronounce his name, but Padraig Reynolds seems like a really, really nice guy. Really excited to get to it with him. Anyway, so I'm going to jump right into it. I do got a question for you guys before we kick off the show. Muse, I'll start with you. Have you ever had a near-death experience?
No, not actually. I wouldn't call it a near-death experience. I had a really weird dream where in the dream I had a near-death experience. So that's kind of strange. Not like where I actually physically experienced anything like in the waking world. But I had a dream where for some reason I had already died. They were like wheeling me into the emergency room and I was covered in blood. There was a sheet over me. I wasn't dead yet, but they were like wheeling me into like surgery or something like that. And I all of a sudden was over my body in the dream. And I was, could hear everybody screaming and yelling and the gurneys going down the hall. It was extremely real. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, what is going on? I still don't know why I was there and what had happened. But all of a sudden I was down this hallway and there was all these doors and they all had stained glass on them. And I was walking and it was kind of like a heavenly experience, exactly like you would expect, a near-death experience to be, from everything we hear. And it was just the strangest thing. But to cut a long story short, I woke up and I remember when I woke up, I took a really deep breath, like I almost hadn't been breathing. And, then I was just kind of sitting there. And to this day, I still remember the dream in vivid detail. So it wasn't a near-death experience like, in the physical waking world, but it was just the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced, as far as that goes. So, I mean, sort of, kind of, I don't know what you would call that.
Well, that is pretty crazy. And it's funny, you take each day for granted thinking everything's going to be okay, but you never know what's going to happen. How about you, HorrO? Do you have any near-death experiences, like maybe Dexter standing over you in the middle of the night?
Resurrecting Dexter was almost killed me. I don't know if it was worth it, but if he fulfills his internship, maybe. Other than that, I would say probably the only time I ever felt that I might have died was when I was much younger. I was in a pool and I kind of got caught under a float and couldn't get up above it. And I kind of hit that point where, a little bit of panic set in. And, you feel that air all of a sudden kind of start, you're like, where's the air? And then, I got to get up. I don't think I was that close to dying, but I think that's probably about it.
And Chris, how about you, man?
I was in a tornado and while everyone went in the shelter, I went forward toward the tornado. I was taking pictures, putting them on Instagram and Twitter. And all of a sudden, ABC News and the Weather Channel, my son was with me, start tweeting me and Instagramming me, can we use your pictures on our newscast? And I said, go right ahead. And I never told my wife about it, but she's watching the Weather Channel because she'd kill me if she knew I took her son into a tornado. And so the Weather Channel that night has pictures by Christopher Zisi. And so she found out. And then I was in the Maldives and there was a tsunami coming. And we were ushered to the top floor of the building, and everybody was scared. Everybody was inside. The chandelier was going back and forth because there's a little bit of an earthquake. And I was out on the balcony because we knew it was coming right at 6:36 p.m. And I wanted to capture the moment. I look at death in the face, I eat it up, and I spit it out.
I do not doubt that for 1 minute. The reason why I asked you guys this question is because I had something happen today. I almost canceled the show, and I was telling Muse this, and I'm not telling you guys for pity or anything like that. I'm like, that's the last thing I ever want from anybody. But I was at the job site today, and if you know, I do project construction management on the side, and I was taking a picture, and I took a step back too far, and I fell 10 feet onto my back into a pit, and I just laid there. And I think I was stunned, but it's funny. Like it felt like I was falling forever, and then I hit the ground. Luckily, I was wearing my hard hat. But it's the reason why I asked is because I'm not saying I was going to die. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Like I'm in a lot of pain right now, so I'm going to get through the show. But the reason why I asked is I thought about my family first and foremost. I thought about Dexter really briefly, but. It's just scary you don't know what's going to happen, or you don't know, are you really hurt, or is this it, or whatever. So I just laid there for a second, and I thought about just all those people that have near-death experiences, which is very, very scary. So anyway, that being said, I'm excited to get into the show. Like I said, we'll be talking open 24 hours, and we'll have the director on in a little bit. I'll kick off the show with my Fear the Beer of the Week. This one looks pretty good. This is a River Horse Belgian Freeze. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I am excited to try it because it is cold outside in New Jersey, New York City, and this is going to be nice. So cheers to you guys. Oh, that's good. It just tastes like a regular Belgian beer. Nothing special, nothing great, but I like it. And so my horror movie flashback really quick. I didn't write the date down. I just saw it online and I forgot to do it, but it's a really cool movie because I wish I had this power. But Scanners came out this date not too long ago, and they have that look where they're shaking and blowing up heads and whatnot. So that is a pretty cool movie to check out. And I want to wish a happy birthday to the one, the only Apollo Creed, Carl Weathers. I forgot how old he was today, but today is his birthday, and we know him from one of the best, if not the best, action movie ever made, in my opinion, and that's Predator. Also, he's been in several other movies like Rocky and whatnot. But yeah, that's my horror movie flashback. I'm going to jump in a quick second here. I'm going to pass it on over to Muse, and we're going to do the Sinister Six.
Okay, so and we're talking about open 24 hours tonight, and we're going to see pretty quickly how working at a particular place can lead to a night of absolute mayhem. And of course you will see, well, you saw a little bit of that there on the trailer. So I thought it would be fun to come up with a Sinister Six of places I would not want to work in a horror movie. And these are kind of like more like specific places. So I'm gonna put the guys on the spot here in a few minutes after I'm done, see if they have any great movies where maybe there's a job where you just would not want to work. I have a feeling I might steal a few answers here, so I'm apologizing in advance. So I'm gonna jump right into it. Number one is Morningside Funeral Home in Phantasm 1970 from Phantasm 1979. I think I already stole Chris's answer. One of them. I'm sorry, but this is one of my favorite underrated horror movies. There are still horror fans out there that have not seen these movies, and you have to at least see the first one. If you don't see any of the others, I think you should see the sequels, but definitely see the 1979 Phantasm. Morningside Funeral Home, we all know this is kind of where everything kicks off with Angus Scrimm's character, the tall man, and all these crazy things that happen with these little troll-like, I don't even know, I guess I call them little troll people. He turns these people into these trolls after they die. And I mean, this is one of those movies that made me absolutely terrified of funeral homes. And I mean, obviously I would not want to work at Morningside because of all the craziness that's going on. So definitely Morningside Funeral Home from Phantasm. Number two, I could not figure out, I was lazy and I did not actually figure out the actual company's name in this movie, but I don't think I would want to work with a real estate company that employed Stephen Freeling in Poltergeist. This is just bad business these people are doing. We're building housing developments on cemeteries. We've got hauntings. We've got all kinds of chaos. We've got unrest of, all kinds of unquieted spirits and everything. So yeah, don't think I'd want to work there and be responsible for all that, on top of the fact that, you're getting sucked into all of the chaos as well in the hauntings and whatnot. Number three, my next movie, Halloween 2. I would not want to work at Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. No, thank you. I don't think I'd want to work at really any hospital in a horror movie. It's not a good place. Bad things happen here. This is not, it's not the safe haven that we know it as most of the time in our real world. But horror movies, Haddonfield Memorial, Halloween 2, everybody knows this is my favorite horror movie of all time. And yes, I love it more than the original. And I'm not afraid to say that. Sorry, not sorry. I do love 78, but 81 is my favorite. I know people are going to boo me for that, but I don't care. This is my favorite. And there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in Haddonfield Memorial. Patients are getting lost. We've got people making out in therapeutic hot tubs. And we love that scene, though. One of the best deaths in the movie series as well. I know it's Chris's favorite. But yeah, Haddonfield Memorial, would not want to work there. My fourth place I would not want to work, obviously anywhere on Camp Crystal Lake. No, thank you. This has turned me off to camping pretty much forever. Of course, we're talking about Friday the 13th. Jason does not want you on his lake. Get off. Stay off. Don't go there. Don't go to Higgins Haven either. It's still on the lake. It doesn't matter. So we definitely don't want to work anywhere on Camp Crystal Lake for that matter. My fifth movie, I would not want to work at the Overlook. The Overlook is, you don't want a vacation there. You don't want to be a caretaker. You don't want to be a bartender. You don't want to be anybody involved here. It's not going to end well. The Overlook from The Shining is definitely a place I would not want to work. And my fifth movie is, or my sixth movie, I'm sorry, is anywhere on the cemetery and Return of the Living Dead. Any cemetery for that matter, but I really wanted to focus on Return of the Living Dead because it's one of my favorite zombie movies. Day of the Dead is probably my all-time favorite, but this one is a lot of fun. And, I think that pretty much cemeteries in any horror movie are a bad idea, but this one definitely gets wild and people are coming out of the ground. It's raining. The rain is made of acid because of all the toxins in the air. Of course, we all know how, because of the trioxin in the air, but definitely would not want to work in a cemetery at all in this movie or anywhere for that matter in a horror movie. And I added one last place that I would actually probably not mind working. I thought it would be fun to throw in one extra one that I wouldn't really mind working. I wouldn't mind working at S-Mart with Ash. from Army of Darkness. I would love to see him kick some Deadite ass, and I think that would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun, and I would not want to miss that. I would hope I would live through it, but I wouldn't mind working there. So I'm going to start with Chris this time and ask him what place comes to mind that you would not want to work in a horror movie. 3
movies came up with parking garages,
Yes.
especially after the building closes. I don't know if you guys saw, we talked about this movie a little bit, one of our shows, P2. Yeah, good, terrific movie. A nubile babe is put under much torment from a psychopathic parking garage attendant. Happens all the time. You guys remember Highlander, the original Highlander, when the movie opens, it goes from the wrestling matches to the parking garage, and he just happens to have this like 15-foot sword in his pocket, and the first sword fight, and cars are getting chopped up, posts are getting chopped up. And Super Hybrid, a movie I reviewed maybe a year ago, where a staff is trapped under a parking garage by a monster squid impersonating a car. And also Cat Food Factory for the Corpse Grinder series. And If You Were a Beautiful Woman, Rome, Italy, for every single Giallo movie out there, because you'll get sliced up by a razor. And that's what comes to my mind.
Oh man, I love that you mentioned P2 because I love Rachel Nichols. She's so great in that. The Cat Food Factory. I'm like, yeah, I remember that vividly. Definitely no Cat Food Factory for me. I'm going to pass on that one. Oh my God, great choices, Chris. What about you, HorrO? What were some of your choices?
Well, I love Chris's choice, especially P2. That's a good one.
Yes.
I was kind of thinking, how about being a lifeguard on the beach in any shark movie that we've seen, basically. Starting with Jaws. How about being one of these crazy gas station, tonight we're talking about a gas station attendant, and some of the other movies we've seen, say Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe not the danger specifically there, but it's definitely way too close. Let's see. How about here's one, Cabin in the Woods. The people that were working underground. That was a crazy workplace, and especially towards the end of that movie. And I guess I'll leave off with another one that I like. I don't know how many people have seen it. It's Mayhem. That was a office building gone berserk, and I think there's another one, Belko Experiment, that's very similar to that. Definitely office workplace gone absolutely nuts. So yeah, those are, I guess, a couple of my choices.
I just saw Mayhem a few days ago with a friend of mine, and I loved it. It's so good. For anybody that has not seen that, you got to see that one. And Cabin in the Woods for sure. That is definitely one of those movies that just throws so many curveballs at you. I loved it. So great choices. All right, Ken, you're up. What do you got?
Well, I got a little curveball. I'm not going to say something that, like, I guess I want to work at this place rather than not. But scary stuff does happen, so maybe I say that now. But if I was in the situation, maybe not. The comic book store in Lost Boys with the Frog Brothers. I want to work there, man. I don't know what would happen, but I love comics. I love that atmosphere, and working with them would be a freaking riot. But yeah, that's gonna be me. I'm gonna go with the Frog Brothers comic book store. I don't know exactly what it's called. But,
I don't either. I don't think they say the name, actually. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows that. Where's our horror trivia geeks at? I actually don't know the name. I'd love to work there too. That is a great answer. I wanted to work there so bad. I wanted to work at that whole carnival area.
Yeah.
Just to kind of be on the scene with it looked really exciting and a lot of fun. So great answers, guys. So yeah, that's my Sinister Six of the week. So I'm gonna throw it back to you, Ken.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out real quick our guests in the chat room there: John, Grant, Alexis Egan. Hey, welcome back, Alexis. We missed you last week. Mike, Luna Redcoat. Such a cool name, Luna. You're gonna have to tell me where that name came from. Somebody named Jamie Bowling. I don't know who that could be.
Yeah, that guy stalks me. I don't know who that is.
Slacker. Yeah. Who else is in here? Mike. I think I said that already. Yeah. Good stuff, you guys.
Kate is in there too.
Yeah. I don't know if you made a comment yet, but hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these Sinister Six and crazy and wild places to work. That being said, I'm going to pass it on over to my main man, HorrO, with Dexter, the skeleton intern.
Yes, Dexter is here lounging as he takes in all of this and listens to that chat room here. So tonight we're talking remakes here, not necessarily movies that have been remade yet, but I'm talking M. Night here. And why am I talking M. Night randomly here? I'll get to that when I get to the news section here, so you guys will have something to stay tuned to. But for right now, what I'm going to do is kind of thinking over his films. I'm going to pick two films here. One that I don't think should be touched. One that he's done that I don't think will probably be a candidate to be remade if his movies are ever remade. I think it's a little early for him. It might be a stretch for some. But I wouldn't be surprised if one day one of his movies gets remade here. And so the first one I'm going to pick is one that I would hate to see remade, but I think was well done enough to be remade. And then another one I'm going to pick is one where I think he basically screwed up, and that movie needs to be redone because he just dropped the ball. If you look back at his career, I think he's very hit or miss. To me, I think when I look at his work, he started high, then just kind of plummeted at one point, and now he's kind of just hovering in the middle. But certainly a name where every time it's thrown out there, everybody's curious to see what he does because like I said, he's hit or miss, and you never know when he's going to get a hit here. So with that, I'm going to start with, first of all, the movie that should be remade because he dropped the ball here, and I'm going to throw it to you guys afterwards, so you guys can kind of give your picks here. But I'm going to start with The Happening because to me there was nothing happening in this movie. It was a great mystery, a lot of hype. Everybody's like, oh, The Happening, something big's got to happen in this movie, something awesome. The trailer was fantastic. You sit there, you start watching this movie, and you see construction workers falling to their death. Sorry, Ken. And you see people in the park getting stabbed and people shooting themselves, and all kinds of chaos. Later on, they're driving and you see all these bodies hanging. All this terrific stuff, all this stuff. You're like, yes, this is good. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. Wait. And then, this slowly, you're like waiting and you're like, okay, so what is really happening here? What is really happening here? I'm still waiting for what is really happening here. Oh, it looks like there's something in the air, but do you see it? I don't know, but it's coming at me. I don't know. What is happening here? Don't suck in the air. What do you mean don't suck in the air? I mean, it's got to be here somewhere. Where is it? And it just never happened. You're going to tell me that it has something to do with plants and their gases getting off, and the Earth wants to strike back at us for revenge. I mean, I know we're screwing things up, but I mean, I don't know. It just seemed a little far-fetched here. You're waiting for a better and bigger explanation to why this is happening, and you set up so many good things, and the deaths in it are really cool, especially the way he unfolds them. But then you just kill us there at the end. So this one's very easy to be remade. You can take a similar plot, go through this, similar deaths, come up with your own series of deaths and whatever in the same way, but have just a better explanation at the end. Have something happening. We just needed a bigger bang there at the end here. Maybe go the route of the Crazies where it was like some biochemical something or another, but at least give us a better explanation than the plants are just getting their revenge on us. And just because they're out there in the distance. I mean, I don't know. To me, that went over my head. I don't know. And then, let's go to the movie that I think one day is a possibility to be remade, but I would hate to see it be remade, especially this one, just because of how great I think it simply is. And as with The Happening here, he kind of drops the ball at the end. I think one of the best things about this movie is the end of this movie, and I'm talking Signs. I really enjoyed Signs, especially the ending, because unlike The Happening, he puts things in place and it all has a meaning. There's deep meaning behind everything that happens at the end of this movie. You see little pieces of each character coming in, and as a group, that's how basically they survive the end of this movie. And so you see a whole movie constructed and with an ending that makes sense. It actually goes somewhere and draws all the characters together, and you're like, oh, okay, that was pretty good. Obviously, for you, the guys that haven't seen this yet, or a long time ago, this is I think early 2000. This is basically aliens, and the signs are supposedly out there, and you have a family here that's on a farm in the middle of a small town, or not too many people around, and people are starting to get freaked out, and they seem to be haunted by something, and the kids are fantastic in this movie, and they think, oh my god, what is happening here? And they believe in aliens, and the dad is, he's an ex-priest, and he's struggling with his religion, and he's like, I don't really care about that, I don't care about aliens, I don't care about God, and all this, while struggling with the death of his wife. You find out a big shocking secret at the end, which is just another added element to this movie. And then you have this scene later when you eventually see an alien, and you're like, holy crap, you didn't think that for a while that you were going to see one, and then you're like, oh, you get to see a little piece of one earlier, and then bam, you get to see one. You see, I think Joaquin Phoenix is the guy. He gets scared, you get scared, the audience gets, everybody's freaked out, because you really didn't see you were going to see this freaking alien here. And then you have something really to look forward to. But basically, you look at these two movies, and you have one that came together really well and had an ending that made sense, and another one that just didn't. So with Signs, maybe it'll be remade one day. You can tinker with the alien, do your own alien design, maybe do a different family construct here. But I think what he did there is he really put a lot of pieces together, and probably did a lot of thinking there to put all those puzzle pieces together to come up with that very interesting and connected ending. Whereas The Happening, I don't know, he probably read that in a book somewhere about plants wanting to kill us, and kind of thought, oh, let's do this. So those are my two choices here. So I'm going to kind of throw it back to you guys and see what you think of M. Night and his movies. One, maybe a movie you guys want to see remade, and maybe one that deserved it, and maybe one that doesn't deserve it. So let's go back in reverse order. I'll start with Ken.
Right on. Yeah, I saw The Sixth Sense, and then I think he did. I forgot what he did after that. The water one, the one with the nymph in the water, the Bryce Dallas Howard one. Then
Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water, right? And then there was another one, with a town, and they were wearing the coats and shit.
The Village.
The Village. So I think that he set the bar so high for himself coming out with The Sixth Sense, and that was like the ultimate coup de grace of movies, where you didn't know what was going to happen until the end, and it was like, oh crap. But I'm not going to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, you shouldn't be listening to the show. But yeah, I really enjoyed Signs. That's probably, I think if you look at two alien movies that really could be true, just off the top of my head, is Fire in the Sky and Signs. I thought those two really were dominant movies as far as that subject matter goes. Other than that, like I think everybody knows his hand, what cards he's playing with his film, so you know what to expect. So I'm not like jumping to go see this thing that's coming. I think he's got something on Apple now. I don't know. I'm just not. He's just another director to me. I'm not over. I was impressed, obviously, with The Sixth Sense, not just one of the great horror movies, but probably one of the better movies ever made. It's definitely got to be in the top 100s or something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna pass it on over to Muse this time. We'll let Chris go next.
Okay, so I'm a huge M. Night. I'm going to say his name wrong. Shyamalan. I hope I'm saying it right. If he ever listens to the show, which he probably won't, but if he ever does, I'm sorry in advance. I'm a big fan. I don't think I've actually seen. That I wasn't crazy about The Happening. That one, it was okay. It had a lot of potential, and I'm not bashing it because I don't bash movies, but because I know that every time I bash a movie, there's somebody out there that loves it. So I try not to do that, but I think they had so much potential, and I would like to see that one remade and done in a different way. I don't know. I want to see a redo on that one. That would be one I would redo. I don't know. People probably like, no, just leave it alone. But I would actually like to see that done maybe, again. But I love M. Night. I don't know. I liked Lady in the Water. I know people hated that one. I love that one. I love that. I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
I'm going to disagree. I just jump in real quick. I think you had a really good point. People really liked it, really hated it. I thought it was just a letdown. And Paul Giamatti is a phenomenal actor,
yes.
right? But
Yes.
yeah, I would love to have that debate one day.
Yes, I loved it. I loved The Village, another love-hate movie there. I loved that movie. I was mad the first time I saw it. I will be honest. I was like, wait a minute, what in the, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, what is happening here? Like, wait a minute, no. So this has been going on the whole time, and what and who, and I don't know. I was kind of mad, but then it grew on me. I really love it now. It ticked me off initially though, but I really liked it. And I think that a director has done his job if he gets to you. If he gets to you and like either enrages you or makes you happy or makes you feel some strong emotion, I think the director has done his job, honestly. I think the whole point was to make you say, what the, at the end. I really do. And, but yeah, somebody mentioned probably my favorite M. Night movie in the comments, The Visit. The Visit, I believe it was Luna. Oh my God, I love that movie. So good. If you have not seen The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan, you have to see that. That is such a great one. And we'll have you rethinking a lot of stuff after that, like making you afraid to go to your grandparents' house or whatever. But there's a great twist in that one as well. And so yeah, I mean, if I was going to see one remade, I would like to see The Happening redone again, just because I thought it had so much potential, and I just would kind of like to see a reboot on that. But I don't know. I mean, if it's not going to be done by him, I mean, I don't know why he would redo one of his own movies. But I mean, so I don't know. I guess that's not a very great answer. But that's my commentary on it. Ken and I will have the Lady in the Water debate another show. And over to you, Chris.
I like Lady in the Water.
I do, yeah.
I'm a big Signs fan. I'm also a big fan of M. Night Shyamalan. We're not going to mention The Last Airbender tonight. Maybe we'll donate
Very smart.
an entire show to it sometime, but we'll forget that. I mean, you've all had your indiscretions at parties, one too many beers, and all of a sudden your pants are over there, your undergarments are over there. Same thing with The Last Airbender. We don't need to mention it ever again. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a movie with Bruce Willis. The reveal is he's a superhero.
Unbreakable. I forgot about that. That's a great movie. I love that movie.
Isn't that a theme, if I'm not mistaken, has sort of hinted at and reemerged in a couple of the newer M. Night
they did
movies subtly.
I don't know if he directed them, but he did he did Glass, Mr. Glass or Glass, and then the other one with James McAvoy. What was it?
Split.
Yeah.
Split, yes. Also, I love that movie too. McAvoy was just phenomenal.
You just like him.
I do.
I really liked it a lot. It's really a pro-family movie. It's a family that's just about done, that is saved through this, if you want to call it, it's the most mild-mannered supernatural experience, but it is a supernatural experience. And you can just see when the movie ends what Bruce Willis is going to be doing, like maybe a week down the road, a month down the road, or a year down the road. So I like the fact that M. Night Shyamalan hasn't let go of that plot line yet. And I'm guessing we're going to see more of it, either referred to or some sort of sequel to it. But that's the one that comes to my mind.
Yeah, those are, some good choices there. And I guess, that's kind of I think might be his only movie line where he actually did a sequel to. I'd have to go back and look, but I think, we started with Unbreakable, then he did Split, and then Glass, kind of doing a trilogy there. I guess you almost never thought he would, and kind of like a horror / superhero kind of thing going on there. But yeah, I think you put all three of those movies together, it's not bad. I know some people were kind of questioning how it all ended. But not bad in theory, especially when you put everything together.
Hey, Jared, I just want to say what's up to you in the chat room, man. Thanks for joining the show. Sorry, HorrO. Keep going.
That's okay. We love the chat. And with that, let me jump into the news and start chatting about that. Starting with, we have 11 new original / exclusives coming to Shudder. Lots of good stuff, as it continues to happen, coming to Shudder. Some titles like A Nightmare Wakes, After Midnight, Lucky, Slacks, and of course, my favorite #1 of last year, The Dark and the Wicked. So yes, everybody out there who has not seen it on video on demand, and so forth, and who's been waiting for Shudder, it will be coming to Shudder. So now you have really no excuse for not seeing The Dark and the Wicked. I don't want to hear it. Let's see. Arch Enemy, talking about superheroes. Superhero. This is more of a superhero type movie than horror, but definitely from our friend here, Adam Egypt Mortimer. His movie, if you haven't caught it, very, very good. Lots of people liked it, and apparently it does have a connection to Daniel Isn't Real. So he kind of teased that. So I'm expecting another movie. So you're going to want to see this one, so you haven't seen it yet. And basically, the point is it'll be out on a DVD Blu-ray in February 16th. Let's see here. We mentioned Sharks. So we just continue on here with this theme here. Sharks, a movie from Australia called Great White. I think I mentioned this maybe a month or so ago. They put out a teaser for their movie. Obviously, there's going to be great whites in this movie. And I believe there's going to be 2 of them. So that's extra special there. Looking forward to that one. I'm not sure when we'll get to see it yet. Filling in on Ken wanted to know this last week, and I guess they're a little late here running, but Saint Maud is going to hit limited theaters January 29th. When they say limited theaters, so I guess I don't know what. I know not many of us are going to theaters, so that still hurts. But I guess also
I might risk my health to go watch it in the theater, because I think that's the type of movie I want to see in the theater. And I'm not big on the big production movies, but this one, like horror movies, I should say. So I might take a risk. I don't know.
You put on your biohazard spacesuit and just walk into the theater, see if they let you in.
Tinfoil hat, right?
Tinfoil hat, exactly. You can do that too, and hopefully you won't come out looking like Dexter. And besides the 29th, I believe it's going to come to Epix, and I guess that's a pay-per-view channel or whatever. So I believe that's on February 12th. So you might still have a chance to catch that. A little disappointing in that news. Wish it had a different release. But I guess that's it for now for that. In news that I only care about, The Walking Dead will be back in February, because only I care about that news. And they're going to have this 6 new episodes that are, I guess, a continuation from last season. Because after COVID, they decided to mess things up and add bonus episodes and just screw us all up before ending this whole show. So that's what they're doing. I guess they just released a new teaser out, so you can catch that. Something else that we don't really need here, and I always have to bring something about remakes and so forth, and that is the cast now is set for I Know What You Did Last Summer, the Amazon series. Yes, this is coming to Amazon. I don't know why this has to happen. I guess they tricked James Wan into doing it, so he's doing it. I guess it's in good hands, but do we need it? Why? I don't know. This is killing me. But the cast is set, and I guess they're going to start production sometime this month. And then I'm going to just throw this one in here because I'm not really a gamer, so I don't know what this means. But apparently when I tweeted this, everybody liked it. So any gamer out there who might know this or whatever, a game called Sully Face is coming to Nintendo Switch, and that'll be on January 21st. No clue about it. I was in the press release, put it out, and apparently lots of people on Twitter liked it. So I just throw that extra news out there. Anybody who's listening, for your benefit. And then my recommendations for this week, and the reason why I brought up M. Night is because I actually did catch the first season of his new show on Apple TV, Servant, and I actually thought it was pretty good. And I also got a sneak peek of season 2, the first episode, which starts Friday. So for those who are listening today, that's tomorrow. And then for anybody that catches us on the podcast, it'll be out already. I definitely recommend, jumping into this. Now, again, just like we mentioned with the other movies, it's all going to be about how this ends. So, as far as where it goes now, I think it's pretty good. Where it ends, that's a mystery. He may drop the ball and this may be a disaster ending, or it may actually turn out pretty good. So I don't know if you want to wait till the entire thing's over and then see, but I at least saw season 1, and I could say it was pretty good, and it definitely piqued your interest. And I think season 2 started off to a good start. So yeah, I got some into the dark side and got to see that. So that's one recommendation. Then the other is Bloody Hell, which is just in theaters today and on video on demand. Fun movie, great surprise ending. I definitely recommend you check that out. So those are my two recommendations, and that is it for the 666 horror rundown here.
Yeah, good stuff, man. So, did you say you got the subscription just to watch that show?
No, I believe somebody in the chat said that. I did not. I got a. They gave me. I guess basically they bribed me to watch the show. They gave me a freebie where I got a couple of months free, in order to watch, to Apple and watch whatever's on there, including season 1. So I know what the hell is going on. All in promotion of the season 2, which starts tomorrow. So I got some into the dark side there, but yeah, it turned out pretty good. Like I said, it wasn't where I watched it and was like, oh damn, why did I just waste my time doing this? And the episodes are only half an hour, and I think there was 10 of them in total, so it really didn't take too long to get through.
Perfect. I love it when they're like 30 to 40 minutes, just jam right through it. But we're gonna move on to our main movie with our main man, Chris, the Creature Zisi, and we're gonna be talking Open 24 Hours. Take it away, Chris.
Open 24 Hours, a movie that strikes near and dear to me. You guys remember, I know you're a lot younger than me, but maybe you were 6 or 7 years old when the DC sniper thing happened. About 5 of the murders were within 2.7 miles of my house, where we used to live in Maryland. And one of the first shots was a taxi cab driver, Mr. Wallachar, who was murdered at a mobile station. You remember his blue cab, I think it was Barwood Taxi. That mobile station is open 24 hours. And my son and I, he was a lot smaller than he is now. We used to go there all the time, every day, to get a Coke or whatever at their little open 24-hour store. Nicest people in the world owned it. And it's kind of weird when murder and mayhem hit a nice, wholesome father and son moment. But maybe there's a metaphor in that. Jump forward about 16, 18, 20 years to a movie called Open 24 Hours, filmed in Serbia. It's a Serbian film, but it's not the Serbian film. It's a horror movie. It's quite scary, and it's very familiar. If you fill up with gas, if you stop off at the convenient mart for a Coke, you'll be able to relate. Now, you might be able to relate to the main character. We're going to start off with her, a beautiful young lady. Let me just tell this to you guys. You don't need medical school and psychology school and psychiatrist school. If 4 or 5 times a day you have to tell people that you're not crazy, see, if you're not crazy, you don't have to tell people that. They know. It just count. Forget about what you see or what you do. If you've got to tell people that you're not crazy repeatedly during the day, you probably need Thorazine or electroshock therapy, or what else do they do? Padded rooms, straitjacket? Yeah, because normal people who aren't crazy don't have to say that. Don't have to say, I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy. Because nobody's doubting that. But if you're going to say it, that's kind of the problem that our main character faces. Now, our main character, let me get her name straight. It's Vanessa Grassi. She plays Mary. Beautiful young lady. It's a good thing she's a beautiful young lady, because I don't think we'd be on her side if she's not a beautiful young lady. Opens a nubile babe, obviously beset. And then very early into the movie, first few minutes, we find out what is besetting her. Her boyfriend, John, James, played by Colin Veig, is a serial killer. Vicious serial killer. Makes Ted Bundy look like Winnie the Pooh. And we see it. We see his work. It's quite graphic. Well, she's just out of jail. Her parole officer went to bat for her because she accompanied her boyfriend, the serial killer. She was there at the 35 murders. This guy murdered 35 young women. nice looking woman graphically. And you'll see a couple of these murders. It's graphic. Won't describe it here. Maybe we'll talk to Mr. Reynolds about it in just a minute. But and there lies the problem. She is too scared to do anything. And you can see that. This guy's a monster. He's just got that demeanor that you're not going to get away from him. And it's portrayed very, very well in this movie. But finally, at number 35, after he kills the 35th woman, you'll see the murder. It's brutal. She's had enough. And she does something. And I think she intended to kill herself too. But she burns the house down while he's sleeping. He doesn't die, but he gets really burned, horribly burned. She doesn't die. Police come. They have their serial killer, but they also got his accomplice, this beautiful young lady. And she goes to jail too. Well, I forget how long she's in jail, not long at all, but her parole officer, real tough guy, goes to bat for her in front of the parole board, gets her out. She's been diagnosed delusional, paranoid, schizophrenic, all those diseases. She's got them. She pops psych meds like the M&Ms. And the hallucinations that these things are supposed to cure, they're still coming. Now, she doesn't want to tell anybody because she's scared if she tells me I'm still hallucinating, they're going to grab her for violating her parole and throwing her back in. And they start off pretty mild as far as hallucinations. Strange phone calls when the phone's not even plugged in. Visions of James, who's in jail, behind her or coming to her or talking to her. Well, she does a pretty good job hiding it from a probation officer who just gets her a job at guess where? 24-hour gas station. This is a classic scene when she goes in. She meets a guy named Ed, and we love Ed, and we pray in this movie that Ed doesn't get killed because we just know a lot of the people we've met in this movie are going to get killed horribly. But Ed's a good guy. Ed's an old guy. Ed's going to give this gal a chance. And he says to her, what did you do? Your parole officer sent you. And she says, I burned down the house with my boyfriend in it. And Ed just says, did he deserve it? She says, yeah. He says, okay, good with that. And I think we all can sympathize with that. If you get burned in your house, we don't usually ask the question, did you have it coming? But really, it's on the top of our minds. We're just trying to be polite. So she starts work at this gas station, and she's going to do the, I guess you call it the graveyard shift. Now, the gas station is something that we need to talk about a little bit. We look at this movie. We first think it takes place in Missouri because of the license plates, but nothing looks really familiar. And then you look at the IMDb and you realize it was filmed in Serbia. And then it all makes sense because they have this gas station with basically a few pumps outside and a big food mart inside. And this food mart is unfamiliar, and I think this is intentional. It's not Doritos and Cheetos and Pringles and Coke and Mountain Dew. It's got that kind of stuff, but the brands that really you've never seen before. And it's a kind of they got pig's feet, which are actually, they have those in Fredericksburg, Virginia too. But the disgusting things, and people who live in major metropolitan cities don't know that there are gas stations around with these big jars of severed pig's legs, and you just take it out and eat it raw. People love it. I don't, but people do. And you'll see that in this movie, and it's an icky moment. Something that should have been in the Serbian movie, the Serbian film. So, okay. She starts work, and it's kind of heartbreaking because she's got a friend, really good looking friend, and she's going to die horribly, and she will, and she's going to meet a bunch of people, and they're going to die horribly, and most will, I won't tell you if all of them will, but die from what? Now, this is interesting because she is delusional. She does have hallucinations. She does pop psych meds, like I pop M&Ms, the kinds with the almonds. Those are really good. And I might be popping psych meds before the end of the show. But we're thinking, wait a minute. Does she belong back in jail? I mean, she did burn a guy down, and she did burn a house down. She did accompany this guy to about 35 murders. You know, just because she's a pretty face, do we believe her? Well, something inside us believes her because she's the protagonist. We don't know if that's going to be a messy twist at the end or if we're accurate in trusting her. And you're waiting for the answer. The answer will come. There will be an answer at the end. It's not going to leave you hanging, so don't worry about that. Well, then the hallucinations start again, and the hallucinations seem to get closer to home. Her friends start getting taken out as they come to the gas station. It starts raining, and one of the things about the serial killers, he kills when it rains, and that's the thing. Before he killed, he'd call up his girlfriend Mary and play that raindrops, nothing but well, you'll hear it a lot. If you watch this movie, you'll hear the song a lot. And she starts getting calls as it starts to rain, raindrops, and so she's thinking he's out again. Now the parole officer's coming back, and the parole officer is not sure about her anymore because remember, she's delusional, and she is delusional. Now there's another problem here. Let's just say that her ex-boyfriend has managed to get out. And at this stage of the movie, all we know is he's in jail somewhere, half burned. But let's just say he manages to get out and he is stalking her. If that were the only problem she had, she's pretty cooked. Unfortunately for her, she's more than pretty cooked because something else is out there. Something else wants to kill her. Something else hates her just as much as the guy who burned her. Who is that? What is that? I'll tell you this. I'm not going to give that away as a spoiler. It's kind of you're wondering, is this a red herring? Or is this an intricate plot device? Or is this something else? But there is another force out there that wants her shredded. And so now she's got to worry on two fronts. So she's at this gas station. Things are falling apart. She's supposed to be there overnight alone, other than customers that come. And there's truck drivers who stop for gas at 2 a.m. What can you say about them? Most of them are serial killers anyway. And it's all going to come full circle. Everybody's going to come back. But the question is, and it will be answered, I won't answer it here, is she indeed delusional? Is she having delusions? Is she the killer? How about this guy who she thinks is after her, the half-burned Spectre, who supposedly is in jail, according to the probation guy? Well, you're going to love the ending. It's gory. It's ominous. It borders on torture porn. And it's that great question, are we cheering for this woman because she's a pretty face? Which is reason enough to do it. I'm not condemning that. Or is she the nubile lass we think she is, who's not crazy, not nearly as crazy as we're made to believe, and there's really a killer after her? The ending will be ominous. It'll be blood-soaked. It'll be loud. It'll be vicious. You don't just get shot, bend over, and die in this movie. If you die, it's real gory. And so I can't wait to talk to Mr. Reynolds in just a minute or two.
So real quick, yeah, in a minute or two, you're going to be joined by Padre Reynolds. I just wanted to go around the horn real quick and ask you just a really quick review to everybody. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the gore factor, kind of just starting out within, I think, the first 10 minutes or something, the whole bathroom scene, it's like, yes, this is going to be a good movie. So I definitely loved it. Highly recommend it. Muse, I guess Chris recommended it to you. You recommended it to all of us. Thank you so much. So what did you think about it? Obviously, you recommended it. You liked it. Muse, we can't hear you, but...
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I had my thing. My husband was trying to interrupt me while everybody was doing their segments. So I had my stuff down, trying to secure the...
Blame your husband. I like that. Okay.
I know. I always throw him under the bus. That's why he's here. But, yeah, we kind of stole what I was going to say. Yeah, Chris recommended it to me, but I really dug this one. My husband does not like horror, but he watched this with me and really liked it. I was really shocked. I'm still shocked because, like you said, it does have some very, like Chris said, it has some very torturous parts there. I mean, you've got some hostile, Saw type stuff going on here at times. And, it's pretty brutal. So I was really surprised. I was surprised how he stayed with this one. Usually he just flips over and goes to sleep. But yeah, no, I love this one from beginning to end. The characters were, really great. I was rooting for Mary. I really was. I kind of felt like, she was in a situation that was almost impossible to deal with. And, my husband kept asking me, questions like, well, why did she do this? And why didn't she call the police? And I was like, well, but I mean, I really dug it. So it looks like we're getting joined by the director. So I'm going to pass it back to Ken.
Yeah, HorrO, we'll get your take in a minute here. I'm sure you liked it. It had the gore factor. So, right. Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Can you guys see?
Gore is good.
All right. Hey, it's Ken. How you doing, man? Welcome to the show. This is where the scary things are. We're joined by the director of Open 24 Hours, Pedrig Reynolds. I hope I said your name right, and we are live. Normally, I don't do this to our guest, but you gave us a movie that was awesome, and I got to get you back a little bit by just throwing you right into the fire, because that's what you did with us as soon as we turned the film on. How you doing, Pedrig?
Good, man. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too bad.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad you guys like it. I like your little background there too. It's cool.
Oh, right on. Yeah, we love the film. Chris just got done doing a stellar review of the movie. You got to definitely check that out later on. How are you, man? Everything's good? How COVID life treating you?
Yeah, everything's great, man. It's it's 75 degrees here, which is really nice. So but everything's it's going good. I'm really happy that people are finding the movie and actually really liking it. It's out on so many different platforms. It's crazy.
I think it was released in the U.S. in August last year. Is that correct? Or
yeah, it was released by 4 Digital Media. They put it out on Blu-ray and DVD, and then it went to Amazon Prime, and then it's on Tubi, and then it's coming up on Shudder pretty soon. So that's
oh good. Yeah, when it hits Shudder, man, you're gonna get that wave of new watchers and whatnot. But I saw a lot of traffic on it. Obviously, the background that I have here, that is really important to me in a film. Just like looking at VHS tapes back in the day when you saw like this movie's gonna be big, be really good. So the art was amazing. I want to ask you, how did you come up with this idea? I know that you wrote it a long time ago. Is that correct? And then
I wrote it a long time ago. My first movie, Rites of Spring, the finale takes place at this gas station, and we were looking for a gas station in Mississippi, and we came about this one. It was not the one in the film, but this one. It looks exactly like the one we shot in Mississippi. And when I was walking around, I was like, wow, this gas station's really creepy. I should write a whole movie around this gas station. And then I wrote it up, and then the producers they loved it and they were going to do it. And it just fell through the cracks. I went and I did Worried Dolls after that. And then lo and behold, these other investors from India came, and they're like, I shot a little teaser trailer to help sell the movie. And they watched it and like, oh, we love this. We would love to do this movie. And I'm like, okay, cool. What do you guys want to do in Mississippi? And they're like, no, we want to do it in Serbia. And I'm like, why? But then they're like, and I go, but the gas station's just sitting there in Mississippi. We could just walk right in and use it. And they're like, no, we're going to build you that one. I'm like, all right, whatever you guys want to do.
Wow, that's rad, man. So they built what you were envisioning, and
they built the exact same gas station that's in Mississippi is the exact same one that's in Serbia.
Oh, that's movie magic right there that we don't get to see, because I mean, Chris mentioned that it was filmed in Serbia, and that's really interesting. I actually have a couple Serbian friends. I have to bring that up to them. So the gore and the horror. I got to give you all aces, man. That was blown. It blows my mind when I see a really good film with no CGI. It's just, that's it. You're getting killed, and there was a scene in there where hammering away, and it's like, is this going to end? Because it's hard to watch because it's so realistic. What is your influence there to put a movie out like this where you could have just done with 1 or 2 hits or whatever, but you were going like hardcore, man?
And I grew up with the slasher genre. So, and I just really like Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine, The Prowler. I just really, and then when we're editing, I go, oh no, we should hit him a couple more times. And Ed, my editor, is like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I really wanted that locker room scene. It was a funny thing about that locker room scene was that it wasn't written in the script. It took place in the bathroom. But when we got to Serbia, there was this huge locker room. I'm like, oh, this is a great place to do it because it's it gives us a lot of room to play. But going back to the violence, I really wanted it to. My big thing is like if you have a big bad serial killer in your movies, I think you need to show what he does. I think you really need to, go, show people that this guy's really bad instead of just hinting at it.
Well, the casting was great. I thought that you nailed it with Miss Grassi. How do you say it? Grassi?
Ross.
Yeah. She nailed it, and I'm like, I gotta watch more of her films because I thought she was really good. I wouldn't call her like a damsel in distress at all. More at her own affliction and what she's dealing with personally. But I thought she was tough at the right moments, and she played a really convincing role. So how did you get the cast together and working with your people to get the right people to do the film?
We had a casting agent, and he just went out to people. I said, oh, I'd love to her because I saw her in Leatherface. My friend edited Leatherface, and he's like, oh, dude, she's really great. And then she had an audition, and she was just really, really natural. And I was like, when I go about casting people, I always look to see who fits the role like that I envisioned in my head. And she just like popped out. She looks like she's from the 70s and the 80s. And I was like, oh, this girl's great, and she can act, and she's really cool. And I talked to her online. We Skyped back and forth, and then we just, she just came aboard, which was really great. But we had little readings before. I'm like, oh, this is gonna work. She's really good.
So I'm going to pass you on over to my main lady there, Muse. Go ahead, Muse. I'm sure you got a lot of great questions there.
Hi, Muse.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I was a huge fan of this movie as well, just like everybody here. And I was hoping that this question would not get asked. And I don't want to give away any spoilers. So I'm going to ask this in kind of a roundabout way. Was there a nod to Friday the 13th, or was that just a coincidence when we see Mary's character locking herself in a storeroom? And I'm not going to say what's going on up to that point, but
can I piggyback off that real quick? I thought I saw a few nods to a few horror movies.
There's a whole bunch.
Right? Yeah, that was the one that jumped out at me like right away though, because I watched this 3 times.
It's exactly totally because
I was like, this reminds me.
We had it in the larder. So there was this. So we shot in this old Russian factory, and they had this whole they brought me in there like, hey, we're gonna put the mini mart right here, and I'm like, oh, there's a giant motor in the middle of the room. There's no way this is gonna work. And they're like, oh, the motor will be removed. And then they took it out, and they're like, oh, this could work as a mini mart. And then like they had all these different doors. And I go, okay, this is where the larder or the storage room. And then when she goes in there, I'm like, oh God, this is like Friday the 13th. And everybody's like, a couple of people who've never seen Friday the 13th who are working on all the people that didn't. What I go, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, but yes, you are correct. That is a very homage to Friday the 13th.
I loved it. I'm a huge fan of the films, and I felt like that was just like a really cool little. I kind of almost felt like it was like an Easter egg. I didn't know if it was on purpose, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and the whole movie was fantastic as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. What would you say was the most challenging scene to pull off during the filming of Open 24 Hours?
Probably it went pretty smoothly. Vanessa went down one day. She got really sick during the locker room scene, and she had to go to the hospital. And so we had to shoot around her that whole day, that whole night of when James comes in and he busts the head open and he puts the bag on Debbie. And that was probably the most challenging because I didn't know when she was coming back. And it was like a huge scene with 5 different players and violence and blood and everything. And then luckily we were able to shoot all around her. And then when she got back, we just did all her close-ups and mediums, and then did them shooting the trucker. So that was probably the most. And then one night we got snowed out. They're like, "Oh, it never snows this early in Serbia." I'm like, "Of course it doesn't." So we're like shoveling the snow off the gas station's roof and stuff. So.
Oh wow, the ambiance of the whole film where you have the rain and everything like that, and it just starts to rain as Mary starts her first night there at Deer Gas Market, and I kid you not, when we started watching the movie, it started to rain. I thought, this is perfect. It started pouring, and I thought, oh my God, this is freaky. But yeah, it was just I felt like the rain was just such a great element because, of course, he's the Rain Ripper, and
and that's. When we were doing it, it's so funny because the first night we used the rain, it all the lights went out. Everything kept going out. We're like, what is going on? And we found out that it was a coffee machine that was sucking all the energy, causing the rain to go down. And we're like, just turn off the coffee machine. So, but yeah, I think I'm glad we were supposed to shoot in September and it got pushed to November. And I was kind of glad because it was so cold there. And every time they spoke, you could see their breath, and I thought that really added to the ambiance of the whole movie, because it looked really miserable and cold, which it was.
Definitely, yeah. When Mary is standing outside in a particular scene, kind of like having a cigarette there, I could just kind of tell it was cold. I could kind of see, she's kind of you get that feeling that it's definitely chilly.
Yeah.
I believe that. So we talk about kind of, we've got the Rain Ripper. He's a serial killer. So I was just kind of curious, what research did you do for the story? Were there any particular stories that you had seen that made you think, I want to make a movie kind of like revolving around a serial killer, his style and what kind of happens? Or was this just something that you were like, okay, this is the idea I have? Or were there any particular serial killer type of, maybe something you came across?
Yeah, he's based on the Yorkshire Ripper, and there's actually a Netflix show called The Ripper now. It's he was in Yorkshire, England, and he killed his victims with a hammer. And I always liked the hammer as a blunt force instrument. But as for the rain, I was always surprised that there was never a serial killer who killed people only when it rained. And I was like, I had this idea way back in the 90s. And I was like, that'd be cool to have like if I was a serial killer, I'd go out and I'd kill people during the rain and wear a big rain slicker. And so it sort of stuck with me forever. And then I was like, okay, cool. This will give him a little bit of I always like my serial killers to have like weapons, like Jason has his machete, Michael has his butcher knife. I thought the Rain Ripper should have something unique in that fashion. So I gave him a hammer.
I'll tell you what, when I saw that hammer, I knew bad things were going to happen.
Yeah, hammers are vicious little. And
yes.
What's so great is they made these little foam hammers, and everybody was kept hitting each other with it, and because they're so soft. It was really good.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was very effective. I loved it. I loved how brutal it was. I mean, I don't know how that sounds to everybody else listening. I dug it, but I'm going to pass you on to Chris here in a minute. But I have to say, I love your hat, Detroit.
Oh. Thanks.
Yes, I'm from Michigan, so.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
I'm a big baseball fan, so I have a lot of baseball hats.
Yeah, I saw the D, the old English D, and I had to say something. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. It was a great one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, you're awesome, and loved it. So passing on to Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I'm not going to give you any context, but just before the show, my son and I were talking about Mickey Lolich. So. But anyway, other than Mickey Lolich, I am so delighted that we're doing Open 24 Hours today. I posted a review of it, I think just after Thanksgiving. And I not only posted a review, I started calling people and texting people. It says, you got to see this movie, Open 24 Hours. And this was amazing. And I have a bias toward 24-hour gas stations, being in law enforcement for 25 years. I spent a lot of 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. getting a drink or coffee there and talking to the overnight shift. And I just got endeared to them. And when I was telling Lori and Ken and Omar that when my son, who's sitting right here, 18 years ago, this little guy, we used to go to the mobile station.
Yeah.
And a nice family owned it. We get him a Coke. I get a Coke too, or a Mountain Dew. And that would be a nice little daily routine we had. And then the station becomes front page headlines on all the national news because the sniper decides to shoot motorists there. DC
Oh, really?
sniper.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
About 2.5 miles from my house.
Well, that gas station that we used, that we based it off of in Mississippi, they had a pool table in the back. People would hang out and watch TV, and they had like a little deli. It was, and they had a washer, or no, and they had a shower and a tub all the way in the back. So I think they lived there.
Well, you know, I live in Fredericksburg, Virginia now, and there's a gas station, Snelling's Market. It used to be a Texaco. It's gone now, but they had that big jar with pig's feet in it.
Yeah, they had it there too.
My eyes, because I
they
didn't
had
want to.
they had pig's tongues and pig's feet at this Mississippi, and it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
and it was open. I was like, "Why are you guys open 24 hours?" Like, "Oh, we get a lot of truckers and you know, hunters and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they do.
October rolls around at 4 a.m. They get the deer hunting crowd
it's
coming.
you know, and it was always packed when we were scouting. We actually shot the little teaser trailer. I've actually put that gas station in 2 of my previous movies.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, it's like my gas station shared universe thing.
Yeah.
Like the car in Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's car, right?
It's my gas. It's in the gas station is everyone in my movies. They either go to it or they leave it. So it's like a shared universe type thing.
Hey, you know, I want to talk about Mary, who emerges as a protagonist, and that's kind of interesting because she's a very pretty face.
Yeah.
But if you look closely, and not that close, after the first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, you don't know if you're cheering for this young underdog who might have received the only break of her life, or if you're cheering for the killer herself.
Right.
She's delusional. She pops psych meds like M&Ms.
Yeah.
But she is a pretty face, and the casting director did a wonderful job because despite all those blatant facts, we like her and we want to believe her. And okay, she's got issues. Who doesn't, right?
But that's one of the main things I really wanted to do is I really wanted to give Mary some depth instead of just having, you know, some girl get stalked in a gas station by a serial killer. And I think it's you know, that Vanessa really makes you sympathize with her, especially during that long scene where she tells Bobby about, you know, what she watched and, you know, and what he did to her. And that's the turning point where you're hoping that the audience will be like, oh, okay, I'm sort of rooting for her. I know she's done some bad things, but I'm sort of rooting for her. So,
you know, we talked about Bobby. I loved great. Ed. And I remember when we first met Ed, I'm just praying because I know a whole bunch of people in this movie are going to die horribly.
Yeah.
And I just like Ed. I love when he asked, well, did he deserve it? Because that's what I would have asked.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a great guy. And I'm saying, please don't kill Ed in this movie. And I won't say if he is or not. But
the cool thing about Ed is that I had so I shot this little teaser trailer to help sell the movie, to show investors what it looked like. And he's basically from Mississippi. And as soon as I shot that, we were going over to Serbia, and all the producers who are Indian, they're like, "Hey, we want that guy. We want that guy in the teaser trailer." I'm like, "I don't think he acts. I just think he was, you know, I just used him because he looked like a clerk." So I called him up. I'm like, "Hey, would you want to come to Serbia and be in this movie?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll come to Serbia." So
Serbia is wonderful. I don't know if any of my co-hosts have been there, but it's a beautiful country. It's right on the Danube. Belgrade I was in, but you know, unlike let's say the Friday the 13th movies, when we're really looking forward to these teens getting hammered or axed or macheted, Mary has surrounded herself with some really good people. Her best friend who drives her there, the probation officer is a tough guy, but you really believe deep down he really wants to give this gal a chance. And a lot of these victims in this thing, with maybe the nymphomaniac trucker guy, but they're not bad people. It is heartbreaking at some of their fates, and I think that adds to the horror of it all. That these are people that maybe you actually feel for. They were doing good things, and they weren't selfish. They weren't trying to find a spare tent to have premarital sex in.
Right.
They wanted to help somebody who needed a break, and I think that really added to the horror.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad everybody likes it. I like That's what I liked about like people. I'm glad people side with Mary on that whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could hog the rest of the hour, but I think I am going to pass it to Omar. And thank you so much, Patrick.
Okay.
Hey,
thank you.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, man. Thank you.
I just want to kind of pick up where Chris left off, talking about Mary, and you do something interesting and have her basically be delusional. And did that kind of make it easier to kind of go through the movie and show some stuff, get yourself out of the gas station without having to do too much?
Yeah, like I was worried that I was going to show a little bit too much of the flashbacks or too much of the the delusional things. But then once I started going, like it makes it easier to play with stuff. It makes it easier to to get out of stuff, and I think it gives the audience more of a background of what she's done and what she's been through. Like the whole scene when she's talking to Debbie at the diner. She was never supposed to have a hallucination there, and I was like, "Oh, I think she should see somebody." And then I go, "We'll shoot it two ways, and if it doesn't work, if we're having too many horror stuff, then we'll just take it out." But it works, and it gave me to do some cool jump scares that I usually don't do in my movies. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I was going to mention the bathroom scene kind of early on. That was, I know you're into the blood and stuff, but that was a little bit of combination there, more of an intense kind of scene also on top of it.
Well, I wanted to show right away. Because we have a sort of a lull there when she's getting the job, and then I wanted to show the audience right away of what she deals with, and he goes, "Oh, this is the type of movie we're in." She's going to be having these horror, episodes. So you got to figure out what's real and what's not.
Did you have any of these delusional kind of scenes where maybe you did some and you had to take some out, or did you fit in everything that you wanted?
No, they were all in there. The only gag that we were worried about was there's this, for people who haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin it, but there's these hands that come through the wall and grab her. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to look terrible. It's going to look terrible. And even the production designer was like, this is going to look terrible. And I'm like, well, let's just do it and see what it looks like. And then as soon as we did it, we're like, oh, that looks good. So we were very happy with it at the end. So they built me this whole fake wall and the hands came. I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, no, it certainly worked out.
Yeah.
I'm always curious as I guess, some of us kind of talked about how we viewed the movie. Obviously, I love the blood and guts, and I'll get to that in a second. But as I'm watching this movie, I'm kind of watching Mary. I'm kind of thinking, is there going to be a twist to this movie, or is it going to be kind of a little bit straightforward? And I was kind of getting a little bit worried. I don't know if you've seen the movie High Tension.
Yeah.
But I was kind of getting that feeling. I'm like, hopefully this doesn't go down this route, because I'm be very mad, because I was very enjoying the movie, and then that for whatever reason that kind of popped in my head. I'm like, I hope this doesn't go the High Tension route, because I'm gonna be mad. I don't want you to give away the ending and the spoiler there, but did you have that ending kind of planned early on, or did it change at all as you shot, or when did you kind of sum up the ending?
No, the ending in the movie is the one. If you guys have the DVD or the Blu-ray, there's an alternate scene. There's an alternate ending. That's the original ending. And the producers were like, can you maybe shoot a different ending? I'm like, no, because it's going to be like High Tension and people are going to beat me up. And they're like, no, can you just maybe just do it? And I'm like, okay, cool. So I did it, and they liked it better. And I was like, okay, I can live with it. I'm still showing him a lot. So, but I just didn't want to go down that ambiguous. It drives me crazy when you see ambiguous things in movies sometimes, but I think it worked out.
Yeah, sometimes it'll work, but I think High Tension is another one that was so good, so bloody, so everything.
I think the twist
then
spoils it for me in that one, but I look past it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we as horror fans, we have arguments about High Tension all the time, but to me, that ending kind of ruined what it would have been a terrific, great movie. Some movie that you could have just no complaints about, said solid, but that ending just kills it. I want to mention another movie. You mentioned it that they did. I actually get to see. I don't know if any of my co-hosts got to see. I got to see Worry Dolls. And,
oh yeah, thanks.
Anybody who has not seen that movie, I definitely suggest that as well.
Nice.
Blood, guts, everything. I just wanted to take the opportunity to ask you, how did you do that drill scene early in that movie? Anybody who hasn't seen this movie, that drill scene is out of control. And if you want blood, and that is blood.
Well, when we're going back to what we had this, we just had a fake head, and then we had this small drill, right? And then my effects team like, dude, look at this drill we found online. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the drill. That's humongous. We have to drill his head with that. And then and that's another movie that I didn't write that one. It was but I wanted to show that the serial killer, how bad he was at the beginning, because I'm like, guys, you talk about this guy who worships these dolls and you never see him. I mean, I go, you need to show what he's like at the beginning so that everybody knows, oh, that's a bad guy, and puts it in the thing. I like that opening though. That's one of my favorite openings.
Well, that was such a fantastic. I'm so bad because I watched this movie and I probably would have never known that you're the same director. I'm just bad at doing those kind of connection things. But then as we were preparing for this, I'm looking at everything you did and I say, oh my God, it's the movie with the drill.
That's what everybody says. Oh, you're the guy who did the movie with the drill.
Right. But it was, I'm like everybody else has said, that's a fantastic scene. And when you don't see, you wanted to use the hammer in this movie. You just don't see someone coming out with a drill or a drill that big, especially.
I like high tension. I like those violence. I like martyrs. I like, I like Inside. I like all the slasher stuff. So I'm sort of, the gore stuff doesn't bother me, but sometimes people get a little leery of it.
A plus to all the gore.
I think it's great.
Yeah, A plus to all the gore that you've thrown in Worry Dolls and in this one. Fantastic. I love it, and we're all fans of it as well.
Well, thank you
so much. I thank you for your time, and I'm going to throw it back to Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
All right. So on our show, we have this our bread and butter here that we like to put our guests through. Our Deathly 13 horror trivia. So this is really broad. I don't know what the questions are going to be. Chris and HorrO Omar also did not know what they are. So Muse is going to torture you to death and ask you 13 questions. However, you do get lifelines, okay? So you can ask each of us, Chris, myself, or HorrO at any time for help. Maybe we know, maybe we don't. You can also ask for multiple choice once. You can ask... Yeah, you can ask for a postponement too as well. Maybe you have it like on the tip of your tongue and you want to think for a minute here and we can come back to it at the end. The 13th question is worth 2 points. So you could go 14 for 13 and it's been done a couple times. So anyway, lady.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
All right. I like it. Let's do it. All right. So we're just going to jump right in. All right. All right. Question 1. Starting out with one of my favorites, adapted from a Stephen King novel. The movie 1408 from 2007 takes place in what city?
Oh, Jesus. You guys are going to kill me on these. Chicago.
Well, are you sure you want to give your answer, or are you like?
No, I don't know it off the top of my head. I think I've seen it once. It's got John Cusack in it.
It is a big city. It is a big city.
It is a big city. Can I have a hint? Or would you do that?
Yeah, go ahead. Give him a hint. Give him a
I've done this hint before, but I'm going to use it again. Well, this may not help, but Ken works there in this big mecca of people. There's people everywhere. Think massive crowds.
New York.
Yes, New York City. All right.
Thank you.
Right. I was like, he's so.
I just picked Chicago because I know Cusack's from Chicago, so I was like,
yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, actually. All right. So I've started to try to do some different kinds of horror questions. I think I really like these. These kind of like also give maybe our listeners a chance to participate too. So question 2, I'm going to ask you to name 4 horror movies that feature evil parents.
4 horror movies that does a stepfather count as one?
Yes, that is absolutely, yeah. That's what we're looking for.
People Under the Stairs?
Yes.
Horrible parents. I mean, Cujo's, they're not really horrible in Cujo.
Well, I guess that's perspective. I mean, you could say, well, I think this is kind
People Under the Stairs, they're bad.
Oh, yeah, they're
Stepfather, he's bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Horrible parents.
Yeah, that was kind of more of a situation in Cujo.
You said four of them, right? You're
Yes,
halfway there.
two
You're
more.
halfway there.
I'm halfway there. What's that one with? What's that one? What am I call it? Motel Hell.
Yes.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're terrible.
For sure.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. And what's the one with Randy Quaid? He's hanging up. They play a crazy family.
Oh, Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, yeah.
Not Mom and Dad, but the parents or something like
parents,
that.
yeah.
The parents,
Kind of like just like Mom and Dad to a degree.
Yeah.
It's got that vibe. That's kind of a newer one.
Oh, and The Hills of Eyes. That's a terrible family too.
Yes, the
A
family.
little bit, slightly.
Okay. All right. For question 3, I'm going to give you a movie synopsis. And when I'm finished, I'm going to ask you to tell me which movie I'm speaking of.
All right.
3 Americans. Okay. I got to word this right because it kind of gives away the answer in the description. So bear with me. 3 Americans travel to Eastern Europe in search. Yeah, I love that I didn't even have to get through the whole thing.
I was going to say, can I name it in one note?
Yes. Yeah, name that
Bonus
movie.
points.
This many notes. I love that. Yeah, because it was kind of weird, worded in a weird way where it kind of gives away the title, So I was like, oh man. So I was hoping you knew it right off the bat. All right, question 4. What actor played Dr. Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein from 1974?
Gene Wilder.
Yes, Gene Wilder. All right. Question 5.
Not too bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're
doing good.
All right, kind of going back to the Name That movie. Name 2 psychological horror movies.
Psycho.
Yes.
And I'll say Raising Cain.
Yes. Oh, good one. We don't hear about Raising Cain enough.
I love Raising Cain.
Yes, John Lithgow is gold in that. Yes.
Yeah, he's great.
I love that. All right. Okay. What Naked Gun actor played Richard Vickers in Creepshow from 1982?
Leslie Nielsen.
Yes,
Nice.
another
Wow.
great role.
What else did he play? I think he was in. Wasn't he in Prom Night too?
Yes. He plays the principal there in the school and also
Yeah.
the father of one of the children. Yes, I love that movie.
Don't forget about the Poseidon Adventure. He played the
Oh yeah, Poseidon.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. True or false? The movie Psycho was adapted from a novel by which? Well, actually, true or false? Psycho was adapted from a novel by Robert Bloch. Yeah. So I mean, yes, that's true.
Did you read Psycho
He's
2?
like, let me just finish it.
Did you read Psycho 2 that he wrote? It's pretty crazy.
I did not know he was involved in Psycho 2. I love that movie.
Not the one we saw. He wrote a book about it. He wrote a book.
Okay. Wow. I love
You know your stuff, man. You really know that you didn't know.
Thanks.
8. We're on question 8.
I just don't know, who starred in Sleepaway Camp 3 and got mud on her shirt. I'm like,
okay, I got to throw that one in. Teasing.
yeah.
All right, you're jamming. All right. Question 8. Name one horror movie in which a hook is used as a weapon.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. All right.
Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Ooh, good one.
There's so many good ones, if you think about it. Yeah, those are great ones. All right. Question 9. All right. Let's see. You're like, you don't name, I'm trying to stay away from actors. All right. So here's kind of a specific one. The Crazies from 2010, the remake.
Mm-hmm.
Place in what U.S. state?
Oh, fuck. I just watched it the other night, too. Sorry. I meant to say.
No, we encourage it.
It's a small town.
That's a good one. You have multiple choice.
I don't need the town, just the state.
Oh, give me a multiple choice.
Okay. Idaho, Iowa, or Louisiana?
It's Iowa.
Yes, it is Iowa.
Because
All
that's
right.
the baseball team.
Yes. All right.
That's such a killer movie, dude. Like everything, it's so
Hardcore,
fast in that movie. It's
Yeah.
so great.
That one grabs you by the throat and does not let go the whole time.
So good.
For sure. All right. I think we're on question 10.
10.
Name one horror movie. I love this one. Name one horror movie in which a bed kills someone.
A bed?
A bed.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Kind of an obvious one out there, maybe some are saying.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yes. Oh, I love that you chose that one. I thought you were going to go with 1984. Yep, where he folds them up.
Yeah, he folds them up. I like that. I like that one.
Yes, I love that part. That's actually.
Brendan Fletcher's in that movie, the guy from Open 24 Hours.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, that is true. I got to go back and watch that.
I was thinking Nightmare on Elm Street, where it gets kind of folded.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. The depth one is really good.
All right, question. It's a great answer. I actually immediately thought of Freddy versus Jason. I mean, I know probably a lot of people might think of the original Nightmare, but I thought of the folding up bed scene. I think because that one just was so brutal. Yeah, you're like, oh, yes, I love it too. All right, question 11. Name 3 food-related horror movies, or if you're not sure on that one, give me 4 food scenes from a horror movie that just grossed you out.
Well, there's the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah.
The Stuff.
Nice.
And one more. Soylent Green.
Yes. All right. Soylent Green. Love that answer.
Horror movie? I guess. I mean, they're eating people.
Well, it's pretty vicious. I'm going with that's a horror movie for sure. Okay. I'm going to give you another movie synopsis. I believe we're on question 12. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you which horror movie I'm speaking of. Okay. Actually, it's just 3 items from the movie that kind of stand out. A telephone, a rustling sack, and needles. And the year was 1999.
Ooh, I know.
The one with the Japanese one with the audition.
Yes, Audition. Yeah. I actually just recently watched that a few days ago, and I loved it. It was so good.
I don't know why they haven't remade that for like Hollywood. I thought that would be a cool movie to make in LA.
There you go, man. That's all you.
Yeah, done. Sign me up.
I love it because you love the gore. I love the gore. It would be perfect. Perfect.
Question 13 worth 2 points, man. You can go 14 for 13, and you still got me, Chris, and HorrO as a lifeline. So
that's great.
All right. Name 2 horror movies that take place in the snow or ice.
Snow or ice. The Thing.
Yes.
And I would say Cold Prey.
Yeah. Hey, I'm fine with that. I like it. It sounds good.
Cold Prey 2 is good too.
I need to see Cold Prey. I love it.
Cold Prey? Oh, it's so good.
I have not seen it. I am like really totally like, what is this? I need to see it.
Well done, man. Killed it. 14 for 13. I know you were a little nervous there, but domination. I love it. Listen, this is our opportunity to hear from you on what's in the pipeline. What are you working on? And where can we find you on social media?
I'm working on, you guys ready? I'm working on The Rain Ripper, the prequel to.
Right.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah. So all that whole speech she gives at the counter is basically going to be the entire movie. And then I'm working on another movie called High Desert, which it's about a girl who runs away from her abusive boyfriend and hides in this motel in the desert, and somebody in the other room has been kidnapped, and she decides she wants to save that person, and then all hell breaks loose. And I just did 2 music videos for a band called Palais Royale. You should check them out. It's cool. One's vampire themed and one's skateboard themed. And you can check me out on my name, Patrick Reynolds, on Instagram, or Patrick Reynolds on Yahoo. Those are the 2 like places that I. So, and if you want to like look up, I think Open 24 Hours is on Tubi, Amazon Prime, and it's coming to Shudder pretty soon, and it's also on Tubi, Amazon Prime, and iTunes. And then Darklight, this monster movie I shot over in Tbilisi, Georgia, next to Russia, is on Netflix too. So, and I think Worried Owls is on iTunes, and then my first movie, Rites of Spring, is on Hulu.
Right on. A lot of stuff to watch. I appreciate you coming on the show, and we, like I said, watch 24 Hours, everybody, your listeners. This movie was awesome. Lots of gore, really good storyline, really great acting, well shot music. You can't forget the music in the background because I loved it. I loved the random tunes in the back, and then just the the main music in the back, the ambient music and
Raindrops.
whatnot. So
The song
yeah,
Raindrops.
yeah.
I like that song. It's a cool song.
Oh yeah, Chris was singing it to us earlier.
Well, one of I was out of the serial killers always never have like a theme song. So I was like, oh, let's give them a theme song. So
Well, hopefully we get to see it with the next one coming out, man. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm almost done with it, and then I'm sending it off to the producers, and hopefully I will get to make it. Lot of violence.
Yeah, bring the violence, bring the blood. All right, Patrick, thank you so much for hanging out with us on Where the Scary Things Are. Until next time, my friend, keep it scary.
You're awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.